Welcome, everyone. I am Michelle Oliver, your host, and I'm here today with George Bellis of Bellis and Wachowski for Bellis, Biz, Blues, and Bourbon. And today our topic is how to get money into your business. Welcome, George. Lovely to
Hello,
see you.
hello, Michelle. Greetings from Chicago.
And greetings from Colorado.
Is it winterizing already?
No, it's beautiful, sunny, gorgeous, 75.
Okay, then I'm sure the colors are changing up in the mountains.
Yes, everywhere here as well. So this is a big topic, George, how to get money into your business.
Well, before we do that, we have some preliminary things to talk about.
Okay. Ha,
We have to talk about this first subject, is a
bourbon.
little bourbon. Although maybe Angel's Envy shouldn't be totally classified as a bourbon. In order to be classified as a bourbon, it has to have nothing but charred oak casks. And Angel's Envy actually ages it partly in some port wine casks, and they use a port wine straw to draw it out. So that's why they call it, if you look carefully on the label, it says a bourbon whiskey. But I love it. It's got a nice sweet flavor. It's got no bite to it. It's a good sipping whiskey. So here's to you, Michelle.
Cheers.
All right. Now, we also have to talk about some blues. And Eric Clapton is not frequently considered to be a blues artist, but he is probably the best blues guitarist around. And every band that he was ever in, including Cream and then his own band, he played one song in particular called Crossroads. And Crossroads has an interesting start. Supposedly, it was originally sung by an old blues singer whose name escapes me at the moment, talking about a late night encounter with the devil.
Mm.
And he sold his soul in return for supreme talent as a musician. And maybe Eric Clapton did the same thing, but he always plays Crossroads. So with that segue, I don't know if it is a segue, but we got into preliminary topics out of the way. We're going to talk a little bit about how to raise money for your business, bringing investors. There's all kinds of different ways, but bringing in investors is certainly one way. There's other ways, of course. It could be in the form of partners or shareholders, bringing in new shareholders. It could be in getting a loan, like a bank loan, SBA loan, or it could be purely investors. And once you get into the category of investors, you frequently run into problems with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Because if you start selling an interest in your business as an investment, you have to make sure you don't run afoul of the federal securities laws as well as the state security laws. But there are exceptions. If you're not raising that much money, usually less than $1 million, you don't have to register with the feds, but you may have to register with the state.
Mm.
And so this frequently has problems. And I have seen people do this and then have problems later on when the investors challenged what happened and then sue the owner for violations of the SEC. So be careful. If you're going to use the concept of investors for your business, be careful. You want to avoid litigation, and make sure that you have an experienced lawyer on your side, like
Gio Bellis.
You got it, right. And you have to consider that lawyer a trusted soul, a trusted advisor, so that every business should have somebody like that to give you what I call the Dutch uncle news, the hard news that nobody else will give you. So with that, if anybody's got any questions, please reach out or contact Michelle.
Thank you, George. That was very, very informative. When you have investors, there are all kinds of details involved in that, right? And it's really important to have someone like you who has been through it many times, because there are oftentimes an investor may want to exit, and that means they take their money. So how do you account for all of that?
Well, it depends on what you're doing. There's different ways to structure new, fresh money coming into the business.
Mhm.
You could have a partner who could be a shareholder
Mhm.
or another member of the limited liability company. In
Mhm.
which case, you better have a shareholders agreement that provides for how it's done. Or it could be a simple loan. If you're, for example, if mom and dad are giving you some money to invest in the business, don't take it as a gift. Take it as a loan. Give your mom and dad a note that promises to pay them back. That way, if anything happens to the business and it goes under, the the parents are considered to be creditors of the business, and their loan is protected. There's there's investors per se. A lot of real estate investments are done through limited partnership offerings or an
Mhm.
LLC. Um, and then there's the traditional bank loans who want a security. As security, they want, let's take the SBA. They'll take a security, a lien on all of the assets of the business, and make you give a personal guarantee on it too, which is not always a good thing. So there's a lot of little nuances to it and a lot of different ways to skin that cat.
Yeah. Well, it really makes sense to have a great lawyer on your side, because you've been through it all. And the
For a
problem
long
with,
time. For a
yeah,
long time.
and I think the problem is with business owners is that you don't know you are in trouble until you're in trouble.
That's right. I get a lot of phone calls about litigation between partners, shareholders, investors. And then at that time, it has devastating results to the business.
Mhm. So prevent all of those problems by starting out with just working with a great lawyer. And if you're in Chicago or anywhere close to Chicago in Chicagoland, Gio Bellis is your man. You can help in a lot of areas with business. Actually, it's not just investment, but all the way from the beginning, from cradle to grave, as you call it.
It's true. Thank you, Michelle. Nice to
Thank
see you
you,
again.
Gio. It's nice to see you again, too.
Let's do it again.
We'll do it again in a couple weeks.
Okay. Through for you, huh?